So I'm going to finish the presentation today by looking at how we might find a playful lead. When we're really stuck in that seeking mode and we can't seem to find a way through, and we can't seem to find our way into that alpha place, play is often the most powerful way to pull our lead back. So I want to talk through some play ideas to finish us off. Teens love to play. Don't you ever believe that teens are past play just because they look so grown up now. Play is just a bit different with teens, but it engages them. It shifts their energy from hostile to on-site in minutes or even seconds. It can melt their defenses in a moment if you can do it right. So I'm going to suggest some fun family games times ideas. Some fun ideas to help play with your teen. The first one is creating a family games time. I suggest this to parents that they sort of carve out an hour after dinner with their teens. And there are different ways of doing it. But one is if you've really got quite device addicted teens, start off by using the devices in your favor. You could start by all watching a family TV show together. I advise one that's funny, that will have you all laughing out loud. In fact, I'd make a point of laughing out loud. Another fun idea is to get everybody to show their favorite memes or TikToks of the day. So if you have quite social media engaged kids, or if you have gamers in your family, showing clips of the best gaming moves, you're basically getting involved in their life. You're sharing their stories. And one thing they like to do, I don't know about you in TikTok, but my goodness, I don't understand half. They think it's hilarious. I have no idea what's funny or what's going on. And it can take a really long time to them explain why it's funny. There's often a lot of social references you need to understand. And so be patient, because it can be absolutely hilarious letting them explain to you why something's funny for teens. It's not necessarily fun for us. Dad jokes are encouraged in family games time. Board games. Just be careful that it doesn't become too competitive, because that's not the kind of play that we're after in this kind of mode. We want them to be in a playful mode, not a competitive mode. There's a great game called Fictionary I enjoy. It's where you look up in a game, a word in the dictionary that nobody understands, and you all make fake meanings for it. And then you vote on which one you think is the real meaning. And the person who gets the most votes gets the most points. Pictionary, always fun. Charades. This one, Pick a Plot, is where you're just sitting around, in a circle in the lounge, and somebody starts a story. Once there was a boy who wanted to fly an air balloon. And, so you tell a few sentences. The next person takes up the story a little bit further. The next person keeps telling the story. Few rules: you're not allowed to kill off the main character. You're not allowed to completely destroy the person before his ideas. He went to a fair. He decided he didn't want to go to a fair. And you're not allowed to have the world ending or everyone dying. But other than that, create the story together. It's quite fun. You could do a family fashion show. In fact, parents dressing up in teens' clothing, or teens dressing up in parents' clothing. Photo shoots with a family mascot. There might be. I remember once we made a big paper mache elephant when I was a teenager for my mum's British Raj birthday party, and it was a real pain and we needed to throw it out. So we decided, before throwing out our favorite elephant, can't remember the elephant's name, it was a cool name, we took him for a photo shoot all around the city, and we had to get the craziest photos and then compare them all. Creating a family play of a well-known TV show or a story, letting your kids put on a play for you. All good things to do in family games time. Weekend play. Getting out in nature, getting out to the beach, the bush, the surf, doing sports. Really into active play. Active play is, we're talking about play in a metaphorical sense here. What does our inner child need to get rest and recovery from a big week at work and a big week with our teens? Often taking our teens along with us and the stuff we enjoy. So if you're into biking, you're into surfing, sailing, kayaking, ultimate frisbee, bring your teen along with you. Play with them. Nerf wars, Dad's just saying, particularly good at this one. Expeditions can be really fun. We did a lot of these in the lockdowns, did family missions. Pick a mission. For example, here in Auckland, we have a lot of volcanoes. It could be that you want to climb every volcano in Auckland as a family, and you just pick off a few every weekend. Tick them off your list. Or you might pick an endpoint. So we have a fabulous bike lane to the very end of the motorway here. Go to a cafe at the end, come back, go out for a trip to Waiheke on the ferry, or go out to a big faraway beach together, a family day walk, really big expeditions, a family tramp. I'm always up for those. Now, when you're getting to these expeditions, you can play car games on the way. I don't know what your family's like with car games, but there are some fabulous ones. Horse, now some caution is needed with horse because, oh no, horses, yeah, I'm actually create a link to some of these games, but you just yell out horse if you see a horse and see who can get the most horses. Yellow car, this one can get a bit dangerous. If you see the yellow car first, you get to hit another member of the family. Tread this one cautiously, play at your own risk. You may need to create a few rules around that one, but it can be quite fun. I like this one. Now, I actually made this up with my little sister in the car, many long car trips. This is called false history. Really good for rush hour traffic. You look at the car next to you and you look at somebody and you make up their backstory. That woman has just come back from the airport. She went overseas to meet a childhood friend, but when she showed up, she found her husband was visiting her friend and they were having an affair. That's why she's looking so mad. Or whatever it is, we end up with fits of laughter about the stories we're making up about the poor people in the car next to us. Hopefully they don't notice us or see us, because everyone can take turns having a lot of fun making false histories. Car cricket is a classic. Look up the rules for that one. Messy games. Now, messy games are actually, you might go, I don't want to play messy games. Really, really good at breaking up that tension. If there's just too many rules and too many fights that you're having with the team, make a mess with them in the weekends. Mud fights, water pistols, finger painting, clay sculpting. Now, the chocolate game, briefly describe this one. There's the chocolate game where you dress up and you time it, more of a younger kids party game. This one I want to recommend. You make a huge pile of flour, you put a piece of chocolate on top, and you take a slice from the pile of flour. And the next one takes a knife and takes another slice, and you keep going around until the chocolate falls. And when the chocolate falls, the person who made it fall has to put their hands behind their back, put their face in the flour, and pick up the chocolate with their teeth. You can get some great photos after people have picked up the chocolate. I really like that one. Now, wide games are an absolute classic. I've been doing youth camps for years, and playing these with a group of teens, or more ideally, other families, groups of cousins, groups of friends, or at a team party can be so much fun. Storming the Heights is a classic. You have two teams now. I just have this legendary Storming the Heights game in my head from when I was leading on a kids camp. Two sand dunes with two big, hills, and you have your flag. Each team has their flag on the opposite hill. You have to get your flag into your circle before the other team gets their flag into yours, and you have a life. It's a bit complicated to explain. Look up the rules. But this game we played, your life was a cup of water. So if you tipped somebody's cup of water out, they had to go back to hospital and respawn, get another cup of water. So it takes you out of the game. Unbelievably fun. Spotlight, you have to get across a paddock in the dark, and if the parent or the person who's on patrol calls out spotlight and your name, you have to return to base. Oh my goodness, dead ants. You've got to play dead ants. It's like a game of tag. You tag someone. Once you're tagged, you lie on your back with your arms and legs waving in the air, and anyone who holds onto your hand or leg is safe from being tagged. And when you have 4 people, one on each limb, they can carry you back to hospital and free you. Now, if you ever play this game in a big group, it just looks hilarious. Just the whole paddock or whatever you're playing in a school hall, everyone goes down, their arms and legs waving, everyone clinging on and carrying the little ants back to base. Snakes is another one. Once you tag someone, they have to drop to their stomach and they can tag anyone else, and you can see a whole room go flat in no time. Go Home, Stay Home, an old classic. Look that up on the internet. Then there's creative play. Now, I'm not the world's best scrapbooker, but I know there are those who are. Whoops, this slide has got a bit messed up, sorry. Just look at the left-hand side. Scrapbooking, cooking, craft, sewing, doing those things coming alongside your teen, helping their creativity. Music making, together if you play instruments, learning to DJ, learning to create your own music on computer using GarageBand, or create a family band together with friends. Dancing. Now, we used to do a lot of this dancing rave sessions, dancing to mum and dad's old 80s music, and the kids found out an awful lot about 80s music when we used to have these dance sessions in the evening. Or any kind of dance. Kaylee dancing is actually fabulous fun. Any kind of dancing you want to do with your kids. Drama, creating an emotional family drama to play out for other members of the family. Sketching games. My husband and my daughter are both incredibly good artists, and you can do something like all sit around the family, put an object in the middle of the table, put the timer on for 5 minutes or 2 minutes, whatever it is, sketch it, and then all compare your sketches and then go on to the next thing. Or sketch the person opposite you. It's actually really, that one's quite calming and quite restful and quite fun, as long as there's just no judgment about the drawing. If you have a comic in your family, get them to do some stand-up comedy for you. This final shot I have for you is actually that legendary game of Storming the Heights I mentioned before. This is me in the center there and all of us with our cups of water, and we just saying we're the victorious team. So look, I'm going to leave my thoughts there for today. There are so many ways we can find a playful lead with our teens. That is by no means an exhaustive list. Get your head into the space of play and you will naturally find yourself in the lead with your teens. Kia ora koutou to all of you, and we will catch you next time.